What do we got going on, Alex?
Yeah.
We have a moo dog here.
We got a mood dog. We brought Anubis today to all of our HDL fans because people have questions about cows and eating meat, right? And what that does from a...
I'm going to cut the cows off. I have the cows going on my mic through YouTube, guys.
What happens in a systemic, and when I say systemic, so a systems thinking process for when you eat a cheeseburger, right?
Right.
Or a hamburger if you don't like cheese.
Or you have people that talk about grass-fed.
Yeah.
You have that whole scenario too. Like the cows are happy when they died.
Sure. Is anyone happy when they're getting put down? Okay. Now that I've wet my whistle. So what is it that, good boy, what is it that everyone was talking about?
He has cow color. So
He's a cow color, you know, that's why we brought him.
He's a cow dog, right?
Well, Gaia got the other video with the dog Q&A, so we got Anubis in this one. He's a higher density dog on Instagram.
He is. You can like, look how chill he is.
Yeah, you can follow high density dogs on Instagram. He's on there. Good boy. Nice work. All right, you stay there calmly. So we had people chiming in asking us questions. What were they talking about?
One of the things was because we posted 2 podcasts on eating.
Right.
We had the first and second episodes, and what a lot of people were talking about was...
Let's get Jason in here.
Yeah, and we have the dogs kind of lower than us, but they were talking about... They agreed. There were a lot of comments on organic versus GMO.
Okay.
So that was interesting.
Interesting.
And then back and forth. But one of the main comments was over and over is like today I got one that was like, I'm not giving up my bacon.
Okay.
But like seems to be the most pushback. They're agreeing on everything.
Okay.
But the most pushback off of our 2 episodes is the whole eating meat thing.
Okay. So now there's a couple functions of eating meat, right? So what happens to the earth? Mm-hmm. What happens to the cow? Mm-hmm. And what happens to yourself? So which one do you want to start with first?
I think let's start with the cow, the earth, and then ourselves last.
Okay.
I think that's important.
Okay, so cattle, right?
Right.
Now, in order to have a cow, all right, you can't just have one cow and then that'll be the meat, right? It's not going to happen. You have to have a series of cows, right? There's a ratio of female cows to one bull. Typically like a 1-to-10 ratio, or maybe like 1-to-9 if you ask a cattle rancher. So what that means is your grazing area, okay, for these cows have to be quite substantial, right? So when you thought you just wanted to have one...
He's being so serious.
Yeah, he's being real serious.
I don't know if people can see. Can we push it down a little bit?
Let's bring him down.
There we go. He's like really taking podcasting seriously.
No, he's a good boy.
Look at him.
So,
he's like looking at the camera and stuff. Yeah.
I'll kick back a bit. So we gotta raise these cows. And for this cow to grow, it's going to take years of maturity, right? So this animal is going to be birthed, right? It's a mammal. So it's got that large gestational period that we all have, right? This thing gets just totally launched out of the cow. That's pretty much what happens.
Right, yeah.
The farmers have to pull this thing out, right? If it gets stuck
There's like
most of the time.
come-alongs and stuff like that.
Yeah, all that stuff,
night,
right? So you have to artificially inseminate a lot of them too, right? Or get the bull in there and have him set it all up. It's a whole process, just to get the cow to give birth, right? So that we can put another cow on this planet so that we can grow it so that you can eat meat, okay? So now this cow, now it's out there, right? So we gotta grow it. So what's that gonna require? It's gonna require a lot of feed. And they eat basic grain feed. Not most of them, right, do not have just like grass-fed grazing
But
cows.
I mean, I've seen like, what's that video on Netflix? Like, it's not Cowology or Cowspiracy?
Cowspiracy.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're showing them like eating trash and all kinds of stuff.
Well, yeah, so they're not going to highlight the best stuff, right?
Right.
But they'll highlight some stuff that's not like, fabulous.
They got to be over dramatic.
They have to be over dramatic.
I mean, your average rancher probably actually is not, being a dick.
No,
to the cows.
the average guy's not. The guy's trying to make some money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So he doesn't want his stock to be not healthy, right? So you got to vaccinate these cows, right?
Right.
So you got to come in. So we're going to inject these cows like out of the gate with everything they need because they haven't had the time to pull in the adaptogens and the other nutrients from the mother's milk.
Right.
And that milk is what gives the cow its, what would you say? It's
So we're hurrying up. It's like production line, just like we do with humans.
Right.
At the hospital. We have to give them this fake formula. They have to come out really quick. We have to time it perfectly. Man has come up with a better theory than nature.
That's correct.
We're more higher evolved,
Right.
than the billions of years.
So everyone's like, oh, well, I mean, organic grass-fed meat. Okay, well, the cow's jacked up with synthetics, right? You have to synthetically cleanse this cow of any sort of bacterial issues or anything that has to do with its digestive system because it hasn't built up that immune response from having the mother's milk or anything like that, right? There you go, right there. So after we've done that, so we got this young cow that's out there, it's separated immediately from the family, right? Imagine if your parents, gave birth to you and then, we got to immediately separate you. We want you to be there. Okay, that's our step one. Then after the separation's done, this cow's growing, we got the immune response, it's beginning to eat, it's starting to grow in size. It also requires a massive amount of clean water, okay? So for this cow to do this, you need about about 1,000 gallons of fresh water per 1 pound of the beef to grow. So
and I watched some documentary where they showed how much water it takes, and then if you add how many, tens of thousands of cows that are out there.
Correct. Yeah, so if we have tens of thousands of cows out there.
You could whole city like LA.
It's insane, right?
Right.
So to get like 16 ounces of beef that people want, right? Just your regular old pound, whether it be a steak or like a huge burger if you're going to eat it. That takes thousands of gallons of water over a cumulative period of time, right?
Right.
So now we've channeled the water into the cow, and we also have huge monocropping farming operations to create the grain to put in storage to feed these cows, right? You can't just grass feed a cow. If you want to grass feed a cow, it requires hectares of space, all right? And we'll get to that for the global perspective. So now this cow is starting to grow, okay?
That makes sense.
So it's useful life, right? So you have dairy cows and you have your cows for your meat, right? But some of the dairy cows, when they become exhausted, right, when they no longer produce milk, what are you going to do? You slaughter them so you can eat them. So this cow's now gotten to sufficient size. It's not going to be a dairy cow. It's regular old Angus beef, so they're going to slaughter it right out of the gate. So what does that mean? This cattle, right, is going to now get sold off.
Right.
So it's going to go to an auction situation where the rancher's like, okay, I'm going to sell this beef because most of the time they don't have the wherewithal to slaughter.